So the term reparations has reared its ugly head once again. You know, maybe these former British colonies should take a leaf out of Kamala Harris's book and be unburdened by what has been anyway. The reason these chancellors are trying to milk Britain for more money is because they can smell blood. They know that this Labour government under Keir Starmer is weak and is highly likely to bend over backwards for their demands. After all, they just recently gave away the Chagos Islands without even consulting Parliament, as Nigel Farage pointed out. Now, I think there's 15 Caribbean islands who want reparations from Britain to the tune of £19 trillion. That's a very specific number, isn't it? Why haven't they rounded it up to, say, 20 trillion? I'll tell you why. It's a figure plucked from out of thin air, and they'll get it as well, even though Starmer has said recently in a reply to this demand that they won't get it. They will, because Starmer flip-flops. He says one thing and does another, and he has David Lammy as his foreign secretary, a guy who's Caribbean one minute and British the next. Of course, when it suits. And this guy called for reparations for the Caribbean a few years ago. Now, as usual, this is utter nonsense, trying to take advantage of the British taxpayer, because they know now the people in charge aren't actual grown-ups. They know the people in charge of Britain now once engaged in left-wing socialist student politics, and it's the politics where Britain is to blame for everything. But we were all slaves at one point, and how far do we go back? Do we go back to 800 years ago when Edward I, Longshanks, conquered and enslaved my people, the Welsh? Can we do a joint claim with the Scots, for that matter? Or maybe we sue the Italians for what the Romans did 2,000 years ago? Or how's about we sue the descendants of the Barbary pirates who enslaved white people? Yes, that's an uncomfortable truth, isn't it? And here's another uncomfortable truth for the woke lefties. Slavery still goes on. It happens today in the Middle East and China, but nobody's talking about that. Instead, they want lots of money because something happened to someone else a couple of hundred years ago. It's ridiculous, isn't it? They're simply blaming Britain for everything that's gone wrong in their lives. And they can't govern their own country. It's evident they're incapable, because instead of doing what the Japanese did after we quite literally reduced their country to ashes by nuking it back to the Stone Age, they got up, dusted themselves off, and built one of the most technologically advanced and prosperous nations on earth. Why couldn't the Caribbean islanders do that? And that's what they've done. They've reduced their countries to beggary and buggery. And they want money for it. But that money won't be dished out to their poor. All that money will be hoarded by their rulers to spend on a lavish lifestyle. You know it's true. So there we go. Despite the fact there's an alleged £22 billion black hole in Britain's finances, according to Labour, Keir Starmer's dishing out our money left, right and centre abroad, and no doubt he'll give these people reparations as well. Even though there's not one person alive today who was a slave during the time of the British Empire. No Caribbean islander today is a slave, or ever has been. So what the hell do they need money for? Because I think it's fair to say, if the British government were engaged in slavery, and slavery is a disgusting act, to treat people like that is just not very human. It's downright evil. But it happened to everyone. And if the British government did do that today, then they should be condemned for it, and the people who are actual slaves freed immediately, and yes, given reparations. But that's not the case, is it? It's also an inconvenient truth that Britain is the first nation to end the slave trade, and many Royal Navy sailors died on the high seas fighting slave traders. So, you know, swings and roundabouts. And if it was up to me, these people could whistle for their money, as far as I'm concerned. And there we go. I'm Paz49, thanks for watching, and until the next time, Roger Trout. Hi, I'm Paz49 off that video you just watched, and I want to thank you all for all the likes, comments and shares, but now it's time to hit that subscribe button.